Check, check, check. You guys there? Hey, anybody there? Inception. What's going on? Holy bejeepers. Good to see everybody. Holy cow, everybody's up, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Wow. Did not expect that. Good to see everybody. Let's do roll call, huh? Let's see. What's going on? Who's first? Nubis. Just killing it. Just killing it, that guy. Joe, good to see you. Ty? Ty's early. Glad you could make it today, Ty. Kelly, good to see you. Chris S. Wow. Even he's like surprised everybody's so early. Harrigan. It's always a good show. Ty. Or thank you, right? All right. What is it? Saturday, May 6th. May the 4th have been with you. See ya. All right. Living Ritual, top of the morning. Glad you to see you again. William Thorpe, always a pleasure. Ty says he's still not out of bed. That's fantastic, Ty. That's okay. You can watch this anywhere you'd like. I mean, if you've got YouTube and an internet connection, even without an internet connection, some of you can download this and watch it offline. And if you're in a bed, if you're on a train, if you're on a plane. Aaron, good to see you, man. Good to see you, neighbor. Orcus, Dorcas, Todd Crapper, Tad Leckman. Holy cow. Everybody is like, you guys lined up at the door, man. That's fantastic. Gosh, I got to put my game on. Gotta bring it on this Saturday, this fine Saturday morn. All right. Roger Francais, ahoy, morning. Got a full. All right, so let's get this thing kicked off, right? Okay, I don't know if I asked this question before. I'm not quite sure. And if I did, it might have changed. Or some of you might not have been on that episode when I or that weekend that I mentioned it. If there is an intellectual property, a TV show, a movie, a book that is not currently a role-playing game that you know of, because let's face it, there's a lot out there that may be a role-playing game and we just don't know. But if there's an intellectual property, book, comic, whatever that is that you would like to see as a role-playing game, what would it be? Okay. Movie, book, TV series, whatever, comic book, I guess is a book. What would it be? Like, it's just not that out there. You haven't seen it. We know Star Wars. We know Star Trek. Walking Dead's coming. Blade Runner's out there. The folks that are doing all the D20 modern for 5th edition they've got a lot. Escape from New York. Geez, what else do they have? They've got a lot. They've got a lot that I can't remember. 80s, 70s, 60s. What is it? Harry Potter. It's a good one, Ty. I think. I know that the author gets hit up pretty hard every once in a while. She definitely has the issues. But Harry Potter, I know people, well, I think some people have come close to Harry Potter, right? Isn't that like broomsticks, and there's a couple broomsticks and something games that are, I think, try to mimic it, but yeah. But we're only going like straight IP. So that's a good one, Ty. Tad Lackman, Buckaroo Banzai in the 25th dimension. Is it the 25th dimension? Todd Crapper agreed with Harry Potter's. It's surprising there hasn't been one authorized at all. Yeah. It just goes to show you, man. I don't know if there's enough money for it to be justified, but I don't know if they even care because they don't have to do anything. But honestly, when it comes to IPs for RPGs, meh, says Todd Crapper. Well, that's fair, Todd. That's fair. It's not for everybody. The Dark Tower, Orcus Dorcas says, which some Kickstarters have like, hey, if you like Dark Tower, But yeah, not a proper IP that's out there yet. The license will end up being pulled at the last minute anyways. Yeah, right? Nubis, Worlds of David Cronenberg, or Free League's The Boys would be interesting. I don't know why. It doesn't even have to do with this, like this question, or me thinking of this TV show spurred this question. But it's not a IP that I would play or like want in an RPG necessarily. I think it's just Sean's brain is wired to trigger other things for some reason. But I was like BJ and the Bear for some reason today. BJ and the Bear. I'm like, BJ and the Bear. Oh, you know what? I should ask everybody if they what IP they would like to see as an RPG. BJ and the Bear. If you're not familiar with BJ and the Bear, just go ahead and Google it. I assure you it's nothing X-rated or NSFW. It's an old 80s TV show. That's it. Dark Tower, Buckaroo Banzai, Harry Potter. Nothing else. Some of you are probably saying, well, Sean, there's nothing else because they're all out there. Steven Universe. I don't know that one. Steven Universe. Why do I get a feeling that's a comic book? Is that a comic book, Chris? Chris S. says Steven Universe. Living Ritual. When you mentioned the modern day settings, it made me consider that Pulp Fiction could be an interesting setting, or even just a one-shot. Man, Living Ritual. I was in the military a long time ago, and I had a buddy of mine we were both stationed in Germany, and then he got stationed in Texas, and I was in Oklahoma, and I would go down and see him every once in a while on like 4-day weekends. And that guy and his brother are the two that I know that have seen like the most Pulp Fiction. Like they watched it the most amount of times of all the people that I know. I don't know why. I thought it was, and I was a late guy. Like they had seen it, I think in the theater, they probably saw it 5 times. I hadn't seen it once. They're like, oh, yeah, watch Pulp Fiction now. And they like, at that point, I think it was out on disc and we watched it. Anyway, side tangent. Chris S says cartoon. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Steven Universe, the cartoon. Wayne Peacock, good morning. What's the question? The question is, if there was an IP that is not a role-playing game currently, but that you would like to see as an RPG IP, what would it be? So we have Harry Potter, Dark Tower, Steven Universe, Worlds of David Cronenberg, Buckaroo Banzai. Gabe Dibbing says, well, now that you allow us not to actually play it, Twin Peaks. You could play it. You should make Twin Peaks. 2D20, Gabe. Good to see you, Gabe. I didn't formally acknowledge you. Tad, I mean, if someone made a Dallas RPG, BJ and the Bear is not beyond the realm of possibility. Yeah, well, Dallas could be intriguing if done right. Like if you were a plotter and a schemer and you wanted to plot and scheme and you know, there was a reason why it was a big popular TV show, right? Ty Prunty says, I remember BJ. Do you remember the actor's name without Googling it, Ty? I vaguely remember. I think I know his first name, and then the last name is I know it's close, but Chris S says I was going to say Hellboy, but that was earlier this year. Yeah, that's out. Chris S. Lockwood and Company is a solid idea, Ty. Oh, I missed Ty's. I'm sorry. There's a book series that has been made into a Netflix show that is Lockwood and Company. I would imagine that's what it means, huh? Or Lockwood and Co. Interesting. Harrigan says, Adventure Time, Reservoir Dogs, Big Trouble in Little China, Earth Defense Force, Astro City. Harrigan, have you been pondering this for a little while? Flint Fireforge, we are graced by Dragonlance royalty, ladies and gentlemen. Flint Fireforge, the craggy old dwarf that's afraid of water, has graced us with his presence. Welcome, Flint. Thank you very much for joining. And he says, Herculoids. Harrigan says Hellboy's had three RPGs. Chris S. says, I can't believe Adventure Time doesn't have a game. I have not watched Adventure Time. Admittedly, it's funny. We talk about adulting and wanting to stay kind of young and you know, we're kids at heart. And I don't watch cartoons like at all. I left cartoons behind a long time ago, unfortunately. I think if I watched an animated cartoon nowadays, it would probably be Heavy Metal. And I haven't seen it in years. I did see the original. I never saw the second one. But I had the soundtrack. Joe Swick, MASH. Oh, here you go, Joe Swick. MASH is an RPG. MASH is an RPG. And I think is it called Mashed? It might be Mashed. Chris S. might know. It's powered by the Apocalypse. I was actually on the Kickstarter and got it. And then I thought, how am I going to run this thing? So there is one. Or Soap. Oh, Soap. That's hilarious. Soap. Yeah, no, really. SPI released the Dallas RPG in 1980. Oh, yeah. No question. Yeah, for sure. I'm fully aware. I'm just saying I don't know the mechanics of it or anything and how it facilitated like the goofy backstabbing and scheming. That's what I was alluding to. So, oh yeah, Tad, for sure. Ty Prunty Time Bandits. Ooh. Harrigan, I got a million of them. If we could just find like a generic RPG system that you could do all of them. Orcus Dorcas RPG Shenanigans Zardoz comes with one-size-fits-all Mankini. Indeed. Mankini with cross suspenders. Right? Wayne Peacock, The Rockford Files. I think that Nathan Paletta tried. Oh, interesting. I don't know if it was on a Twitter feed. Might have been the Twitter feed. I follow a couple of 80s accounts that just tweet stuff about the 80s, and one of them was like the Rockford Files introduction to the TV show. And I watched that for a while. My dad used to watch the Rockford Files. I never got into it as a kid. But I James Garner, right? He goes back into the Western days. Thank you. Please, everyone, back to their mead. Flint joins. He wants to keep low profile, not trying to stir the audience, derail the show. Roger French says Horizon Zero Dawn. Interesting. Horizon Zero Dawn. A little lost on me, but that's okay. That doesn't mean anything. Wayne says, Zardoz, love those attributes. Color of your Mankini. I don't know if I ever watched Zardoz. And I was a Sean Connery fan. He's, that's how I got my name. So that's kind of partial. I don't know if I am not oblivious to the shortcomings of his character, by the way. Sean Connery's character, that is. Ty says, Cortex Prime could do it all. You know I'm right. Why should I have ever even have doubted that? I should have just said that. Cortex Prime. What am I thinking, Ty? Orcus Dorcas, an official Hellblazer. Constantine would be fun, even though there are already dozens of games that are pretty much the same. Yeah. Chris S., I still feel like Dresden Accelerated is the zenith of IP game design, and I haven't read Avatar yet. Interesting. Wayne Peacock, Rockford Files is really great. Check out the 200 a Day podcast. Oh, really? Interesting. Living Ritual, does a Goonies RPG already exist? It does not that I am aware of. Although, friend Carl Kiesler, who is a very, very, very big Savage Worlds fan and graphic designer. As a matter of fact, he's done graphic design for some properties of Savage Worlds. Actually runs a Goonies meets the Ghostbusters game. And he does miniatures and blister packs for character sheets and stuff. So the official game doesn't exist, but I know Carl has run something like that. Ty Prunty, Simon & Simon, and Magnum P.I. Yeah. You're into the Michael Post. I don't know. Actually, Simon & Simon's theme was, I don't think, done by Michael Post or Mike Post. Mike Post did a lot of 80s TV shows, including Magnum P.I. I love the Magnum P.I. Ferrari. What is it, 308 GTI, I think? And they're significantly smaller, I thought. Like, I always thought they were bigger, but those cars are small. Harrigan, Fire and Ice, Thunder the Barbarian, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, Warframe, Destiny 1 or 2. Yeah, but could the Good, the Bad, the Ugly be done in a Western? Like, you could run that in Aces and Eights, couldn't you, Harrigan? Destiny? Okay. Floodgates are open. Planet of the Apes 70s version. Chris S. Thunder the Barbarian would be excellent. It was the Masters of Uldar for Fate, but I'd love the setting book for Thundar the Barbarian. Kelly Ness, The Guyver could be cool with lots of Zoonoid minis. There's a Goonies board game with an RPG theme. Interesting. Tad Wayne, check out Apes Victorious. See, there's a lot. Here's the thing, though. I think a lot of indie or small press have tried to capture some of those, but they can't use the IP, and frankly, they don't want to go through all the hassle, right? They're just probably a 1 or 2 person shop. So they do come out with like things that are very similar. Like I'm guessing, Tad, that Apes Victorious is an homage to Planet of the Apes. Need to get up and coming Italian RPG designers on spaghetti westerns, Wayne says. Flip Fireforge at Living Ritual, Kids on Bikes is pretty close to the Goonies RPG. Yeah. See, there's a lot of close ones, right? They do that over. You could totally, like, oh, I know what they were. That's why when we go over to the Kickstarters, like, if you like this and this and this, then you're going to love this game. It's because they're rocking on the tone and feel of some of those sources of inspiration, which are probably a lot for us from our childhood. Chris says, I just can't see an IP game being good without the setting being fascinating. Harrigan, 308 GTS. There you go. Yeah, man. Harrigan, my fact checker, staying alive and alert. Michael Holland, morning. Michael Holland, if there was an IP, television show, movie, book that you would like to see as an RPG, what would it be? We've got a lot. People are cranking out 3 or 4 at a time. Harrigan says, and yes, I could run. Really? You did. You did an acronym for the good, the bad, and the ugly in Aces and Eights. If I was a masochist. Chris says the other side of the game design would be what is the interesting mechanics or procedure or bit that makes the game something beyond just the characters and individual story. I agree, Chris. And that goes to like, well, yeah, you could probably do all these in like Cortex, like Ty says, or Savage Worlds, or some generic GURPS, or whatever the case is. But is it going to, like, what would be the difference between that, like the Goonies GURPS and, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly GURPS? I mean, yes, I understand the tone and the setting and some of those things, but they're, you know, it'd be cool to have some tie-ins to like what makes a Western, you know. You know, you could have Dead Eyes or something like that, or the Stare Down, and that's a piece of the game. Anyways, I'll leave that to the designers. Todd Crapper, I'm very surprised there isn't a Wes Anderson-inspired RPG. Why are Lovecraft and Jane Austen getting all the love? Yes! Although I'm not a big fan of Wes Anderson, but I do understand it. I get it. And frankly, I'm not a big fan of Jane Austen either, but I haven't really given it a fair shake, I don't think. Todd says, not that I want that. I'm just surprised. It feels like there's the right amount of pretentiousness in the RPG crowd for this to fit right in. Agreed. Living Ritual, Goonies Meet Ghostbusters is such a great idea. That reminds me of all those Scooby-Doo episodes where they met other people like Batman or the Three Stooges. Yeah, the mashups. Nubis, does Flash Gordon exist? Chris S., to the punch, yeah, in Savage Worlds. Nubis, they had a big Kickstarter for Flash Gordon. Yeah, that's out there. You can get it for Savage Worlds for sure. All branded and everything. Flash! Ah! Thanks, Nubis. Thanks, Nubis. Harrigan, here's a big one. I don't know this series, but it's surprising that it's not out somewhere. Fast and the Furious. Whoa, yeah. Coming up on their 10th movie. The final one. That's a good point. Michael Hotland, Killjoys from the Sci-Fi Channel would be fun. Bounty hunting in a well-developed sci-fi setting on the edge of societal collapse. So because it was on the Sci-Fi Channel, I'm going to guess that it was killed after like a season and a half. Am I right in that? That's what happens in the game. If it comes from the Sci-Fi Channel, the game gets canceled in the middle of the campaign. Chris says the Avatar game has a setting and bending. It's not something easy to replicate in other games. Jason White. Oh, excuse me. Jason Weitzel, good morning. Question of the day is what property, what IP, comic book, TV show, movie should be an RPG? And as far as we know, it isn't. What is it? What would you like to see? Ty says, what makes a Western is to have dice that look like bullets. Well, that's kind of a low bar, but I sure. There is one. There's one, well, there are dice with the cylinder. As a couple people have posted it on our our Discord for lampshades and revolvers. Yeah, that's a good RPG if you haven't found it yet. It's very limited. Lampshades and revolvers. It's the game that sets it apart from all other RPGs relating to debauchery. Harrigan, last one. Invincible could use an RPG. He's used all his suggestive allotments. Chris S. Dresden has its magic, its secret world setting and history, which makes it unique. Yeah. Joe Swick, Goonies versus Ghostbusters is an amazing game. Play with Carl if you can. There you go. Joe's played with him. Played that game. Kelly, how many of us sang along with Sean's no? Just me? Okay. Kelly, you and I. Ready? There's a delay. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 and pause. And then we'll sing it at the same time. Ty says, I hear Fast and the Furious 10 is going to be a 2-parter. No way! Flip Fireforge, Simon Green's Nightside series has 12 books and a few side stories with a deep world with great NPCs. Wayne says, Black Oak's cylinder dice are the best. There you go, Ty. Check that out. We still need to write lampshades and revolvers. Shh. Nobody needs to know it hasn't been written yet. What are you doing? Well, Harrigan is hype train staff member. Nope. Chris says, at least when Savage World did the sixth gun, they leaned hard into the setting and tuned the edges and other bits to the setting. Honestly, that IP. Ty says, I have a metal set of bullet dice. Ooh. Wayne says, I bet we could talk Black Oak into the making lampshade dice, Harrigan. Jason Weitzel says Sandman from Neil Gaiman, Final Fantasy, Nintendo IPs including Zelda, Mario, Enter the Dragon, Godfather. That's a good list. Enter the Dragon. I'm no hype machine. I keep it reals. Well, that's fair, but we're not going to put you out in the public eye. We need hype to push that product. You're in the boardroom saying, but it's not out yet, and we're saying, shut up. Chris says the Fast and the Furious could be interesting. Someone would need to design how car wizards would work. Brian in the bunker. Brian in the bunker. Good to see you. Welcome. I don't know if you've been here before, but thank you for joining. Brian in the bunker says, Dirty Harry? Question mark. You don't seem too sure of yourself on that one, Brian. What's Harry's last name? Trivia question. What's Harry's last name? We all know him as Dirty Harry, but what was Harry's last name? God, remember those movies? Dirty Harry. What was the one Charles Bronson one? I get these chunks of the same type of movie in one go. Like Rambo, Commando, Invasion USA, and a couple of Chuck Norrises. By the way, just Hollywood. It's just amazing how many creative people you'd think are out there in Hollywood. Like a lot of writers. Coming up with ideas, and Hollywood just is so risk adverse. They put something out. If it makes a buck, they just redo it again. Let's do it. Only this time we'll have some different actor, and maybe some different scenes, but it's the same plot. Dorcas Shenanigans. Scott Woodard was the author of both Flash Gordon and Sixth Gun. If you'd like to know more, check out episode 23 of Titter Pigs. Hey-oh! Look at that. Orcus Dorcas going straight to the plug. Straight to the plug. Yeah, go check out Titter Pigs. Who else do I got to promote? Broken Ruler Games. Who else? Wayne Peacock's got some OSR stuff out there. Who else? Who else is sound? Chris S. is at Encoded Designs. What else? Who else am I missing? Who is bashful to make a shameless plug, but I can do it on your behalf? Let me check. I think that's everybody, right? I apologize if I missed somebody, but if feel free to speak up. Jason Weitzel says, yeah, Enter the Dragon would be completely great. There aren't enough tournament-style settings. I'd still want to run Feng Shui. Gotta run. I gotta get that to the table. Roger says he's asking himself, did he suggest 5 IPs or 6? Do you feel lucky? Do ya? Do you feel lucky? Do ya? Chris says, yeah, a tournament-style game that's actually functionally good would be interesting to me, Jason Weitzel. Roger French, Garfield RPG. Roll to eat lasagna. Critical fail, you learn that it is Monday. You could do one on, like, comics. I know there's one on Toon, but it would be interesting to do one, like, on comics that you played, your favorite comic characters. And it's like... And you could only have, like, one character from like a specific universe. So that way you're not playing like Marvel comics, right? That's not the point. So you could play like Garfield, Ziggy, Archie, Veronica, like maybe Archie or Veronica all in one role-playing game. Sergeant, what's his name? I can't remember the Sergeant one. Anyways, write that down. Flint Fireforge says, Enter the Dragon reminds me we should have the last Dragon RPG. Show enough. Show enough. Bruce Leroy. Show enough. Hell yeah, Enter the Dragon. Get some, what's her name? What's her name? Not Ambrosia. Ambrosia's the other group from the, what is her name? Apollonia, I think, right? Didn't she was in that, right? Show enough. Hell yeah. Todd Crapper, ooh. I have a podcast too, Covenstead. All right. Go check out Todd's podcast, Covenstead, a podcast of gaming and magic. Yes, by all means, do that. Calvin and Hobbes, Far Side. Hell yeah. Phil McClory has stuff on drive-thru. Is Phil here? Phil is not here, though. Yes. Phil is not here. But yes, Phil has stuff on drive-thru. Ty Proti says, I think for me, the one that I would probably choose the most would be a world rich enough that has different kinds of characters so that I'll stop trying to be just the main star. Marmaduke, throwing Marmaduke. Harrigan, is Phil here, or is he throwing a rope over a rafter about now because of the Leafs? Oh. Hashtag too soon. Or should I say hashtag too soon? Dagwood, Kathy. Oh, God. Kathy. That's hilarious. Yeah. Go try to figure that license out. Wait till the public, they hit the public domain, right? Maybe. Chris S says that right there is the rub because playing the Indiana Jones game is trash and Doctor Who is not my favorite experience. Yeah. There's 22 people in the chat and half or more are content creators of some sort. Are they? Yes. Jason Weitzel, Kinnicumin, and / muscle. Those are lost on me, but I will take your word for it. Ty says, I wish I was Chris S. All right. Thank you for participating in that exercise. Some pretty good ones. I don't know if BJ and the Bear would be great, a bestseller. That would be like, that's another question is like, which IP do you think would make the most money that isn't an RPG? Harry Potter's got to be up there. If it's an Avatar Harry Potter thing, just sheer numbers. Flint Fireforge lastly says, Winnie the Pooh is public domain now. Who will step up? Winnie the Pooh RPG. Oh, perfect. Kids, right? There's an opportunity, right? Eeyore, Piglet, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger. It's a no-brainer. Yes. Kids game RPG. Get on it. Get on it. The art's already done. Yeah, Harry Potter, not even a question. Yeah. Okay, fine. What would be the biggest selling, most popular RPG IP that isn't one yet, that isn't Harry Potter? Oh, too funny. You guys are awesome, man. Firing on all cylinders this morning. Damn it. Love it. This is only my 4th cup of coffee. Just kidding. Just kidding. It's only my 1st. Can you imagine? All right, let's get to some stuff. Okay. All right. 2 to finish, given the spy genre some love, PC game No One Lives Forever, and movie series Our Man Flint and In Like Flint. Now, All right. There you go. There you go. All right. Let's just go. We'll just start at the top of the list. That would be this one I kind of picked off from World. Drive-Through RPG is in the midst of an update and is looking for feedback. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I could have swore that there was a beta version that you could switch to, and I think it was more on the mobile side. And they've been, I know I've had access to that for more than a year. Pretty sure. But here's to improvements, because I think that's going to be the theme of today, is improvements, because there's a couple things going on. And they both happen to relate to the same corporate entity, if you will. So I'll go into the next one. Just right after this, we'll just pivot right into that sucker. Ty says, Sean, you know we do not like the limits. We break them all the time. Well, you're players and game masters. So in these question and answer, I feel like I'm the game master, you're the players, and therefore you guys are trying to break everything. I'm trying to stretch things. Sean, you said 1, but here's 3. Can I name 3? Give me a check. It's all good, my friends. So Drive-Through RPG, they did an interview. It's good to see that they're trying to improve the platform. I think they've got to have mobile first. I mean, tablet. It's just they haven't done much with it. Like Drive-Through RPG just hasn't. They've done things, don't get me wrong, because somebody from Drive-Through RPG will call me and say, no, they won't. But I know one of the folks that work there, and he's been there for a long time. But I'm glad to see that they're trying to do something a little bit more. And here's the thing. If there was another bigger competitor, they'd be looking to improve all the time. But there really isn't a lot that I know of. Well, that's good. Todd says, what's great is Drive-Through has been working with various publishers, big and small, to improve the publisher interface, which is a whole nother ballgame we don't even see. So if you're a publisher, you probably even have a bigger amount of pain. You know, I heard it can be kind of tough and ridiculous. Flint Fireforge just dark mode on the bottom left. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how this works. I mean, I got to think like, okay, so if I'm selling this in the 21st century, what would I need it to do? Like mobile's a no-brainer, access to the library, sorting the library, making the library maybe more visual, or a visual option would be nice. Like, just like you do in Dropbox or Windows Explorer or Finder in Mac, where you can do columns, you can do a list, or you can do like thumbnails would be nice. Because sometimes some of us are visually like, I know this game's got that bright yellow cover and you just page through. And it's options, right? And it probably helps and depending on what device you're on. You know, you might be on a phone where it's like, I don't like columns, but a list will do really well. But if you're on a tablet, these little pictures of all the covers would look pretty cool. So kudos to them for putting some damn money into their platform and changing some stuff and making it a better user experience. Even currently, like Deal of the Day, if this is like the current layout that they're thinking about, I mean, Deal of the Day is up in the upper left. Currently on the desktop, it's like in the corner somewhere, it's like tucked away. Ugh, it's terrible. So it looks like huge discounts. Look, got a banner. It's the banner's gonna move. Like some of this is like, whoa. Welcome to like 4 or 5 years ago. I hate to, hey, Positive Force. Come on, Sean, button up, buddy. But I'd want to acknowledge them for making this happen. They do kind of have in some titles, when you click on it, it will say other titles bought, or other people bought these titles as well. I heard that's really tough to do. Like the Amazon recommendation list, and even Netflix, I think, gets it wrong. But I think they can only go off of, well, there's like a trend, right? And I think we see that even in Discord communities or niche communities within the RPG space where people like, if I'm a horror person, maybe I'm like in Cthulhu, like Symphony, right? Bridget and her initiative and company, Symphony, is a big horror bend, right? So there's Call of Cthulhu. I mean, she's on the Miskatonic University podcast and has played quite a bit of horror games. So if she has that Discord for her community, there's going to be a lot of horror people. So of course, if 3 or 5 people buy Call of Cthulhu on drive-through, then it probably is going to say, oh, these people also probably bought Delta Green, maybe 10 Candles, maybe, Dread, and a few others. So maybe that's a good algorithm. I don't know. I don't think it's the be-all end-all, but it's better than nothing. Jason says drive-through better, but they need a better solution for personalization like every other shopping experience. When I log in, I shouldn't ever see Pony Finder, for example. Yeah, I'd agree with that. That's what and that would make so much more sense, because why are they going to serve up something to you that you're not going to buy? So they can see your library, like, duh, like capture the data. So that's probably, I got to imagine, maybe they are probably capturing data because they're probably providing it to you, Todd, right? Todd and Chris, the publishers. But what can you do? You should know who I am as a gamer, if I'm buying stuff at on drive-through. I like how drive-through calls PBTA, which is, I think, what you're talking about, Ty, AWE, which is Apocalypse World Engine. Yeah. Why are they doing that? That's Todd says, Jason White. So maybe they just know something about Pony Finder you don't. Yeah, maybe they're saying you would like this if you just bought the damn game, Jason. All right. Let's see. So that's good. Not to beat that dead horse, but nonetheless, that's good to see. And let's get into the other thing that is also tied to them, because I got a feeling they're like consolidating their money, and they're probably like, you know what? We've both been kind of riding this out for a while. We should probably both try to update our platforms. And the other one is Roll20. There's the secret. I didn't mean to open it up in Instapaper, but here it is. So where are my Roll20 people? Where are my Roll20 people? I need to know. Because I haven't logged into Roll20 for probably a year and a half. I heard it's getting better. New VTT experience. Clear navigation. New layer system driven by you. There's a video that the chief something officer, I don't remember their title. I think it's this one right here. This video right here on YouTube. I think it's like 5 minutes. It's not even that long, but they basically talk about how they took feedback in. They made the biggest problem with it was like the layers. Nobody knew what layer they were on. They fixed that. They got like a lot of nav on the left now, which they did kind of before, somewhat, not really. Like they had the small bars on the right, left, and then the tabs on the right. So I think it's drastically, I don't know, it's probably pretty different. Here's what's new in the redesign. Toolbar breaks out the layer system to make it easier to know. When can I try it? It's probably not even out yet, right? The opt-in tryout, the redesigned toolbar and layer system will be available at the end of May. So you guys can't even tell me. What? Wait a minute. Ignore Sean. Oh, okay. He doesn't want me to read everybody doesn't want me to need me to read everything. Chris says it's a little weird for a drive-through for us because we have 2 free products that have been sold over 10,000 times. Interesting. So it's hard to parse some amount of that data. Interesting. Roger French. Woo, roll 20. There you go. Okay, Roger, Flint, right here. Use it all the time. You guys opted in. Gabe says, I play it on other people's games. Yeah, because I know where your allegiance lies, Gabe. I mean, if they change the interface and it's like top notch, I mean, I'd be willing to give Roll20 another try. You know, they still got that free version. Do they still have that free? They still have a free version, right? Which is really a weird business model. Because how many users on that platform don't pay? We got like 20 billion users and only 1% pays. And frankly, the only reason I'd have to pay is because the Star Wars Fantasy Flight game system, you need access to the scripter. And you don't get that unless you're paying. Ty's a Roll20 person. Michael Roll20 for certain games. Yep, still free. Okay. Well, hopefully this new design is going to be top notch, because when's the last time they changed anything on the UI? I heard the lighting has changed a little bit. So, because I went back, I'm like, okay, let's give these guys a fair shake. And I went back to a couple videos on their YouTube channel thinking maybe they did a change like 2 weeks ago and they're coming out with another change. Like, wait a minute. That reminds me of like agile sprints, right? Like every 2 weeks. But I think the last one they did was a few months ago, which is like the dynamic lighting changes. No. Was it the locks? The doors? Anyways, I watched this video and they were also talking about like drawing the door and changing the width of the door. And then you could click on the door and you could, a drop down would pop up and you could click whether it's locked or not. You could do transparent walls, so you could literally draw it around a token, and that token's like stuck in a space that you drew. So interesting. Orcus Dorcas GMs are the ones supporting Roll20, and we know how many GMs are out there, right? At least on the D&D side, they're a minority, I guess, of course, right? Usually that's the case anyway. Chris says, as a GM, you can only load so much in images on free. It's a lot more on paid, for sure. Yeah. So anyways, if you're interested, if you're not on their email list, I am interested to find out when they make these things live at the end of this month. But then who knows? The VTT world, man, is crazy. It's just crazy. It seems to like just keep growing, and I don't know if it's getting better. I mean, I guess it's getting better. I guess it depends on what you want from an experience perspective. But I was all in on Forge, and I still am, or Foundry. I'm sorry, Forge is the hosting platform, and I'm thinking to myself, I want one. There's another one that's coming up here. Let's transfer that one, shall we? Shall we? It's just like start here, and it's just an easy path. Just an easy path. Easy to transition. I think I marked it. I did not mark it. Maybe it's because I'm like, we just went over this. I think I did. It was the one that's on Kickstarter that people say it's really kicking ass over on Kickstarter. We went over this before because we were briefly mentioning like a VTT that encompasses Theater of the Mind. And it's the one that, you buy a subscription fee. And on the Kickstarter, you could buy cards. In like certain tiers, you can get like 3 cards, and then those cards you use to pick out the game that you want. And there's a few from my folks at Free League. Free League Publishing, ladies and gentlemen, go out and buy Free League stuff. I am a shill for Free League. I am not they are not paying me. They don't even know who I am. They probably don't even acknowledge that I exist. But nonetheless, they have great games. I am to Free League like Ty Prunty is to Cortex and ICRPG. There you go. Now that name is, Alchemy. That's the one. I got to say, Kickstarter's got good SEO. Alchemy. 380 grand. Their goal was 10. Part of me wants to check this thing out. I have an account on Role Play. Their name confuses me. And it's good, but I don't want to create my own. And I know you can get certain games on there, and Wayne has run Lady Blackbird and created his own sheet on there, and I've done that for Cold Shadows, and they've got some good investment and they're making things happen. But I don't know if that's for me. I don't know. No one has gotten the VTT right yet. I don't think so. I'm with Harrigan. It's not there yet, and I'm a big fan of Foundry. Huge fan. It's waning, but there's I might back just to keep pushing development. Yeah, I might too, Harrigan. Just to get, I know that you can get access. Do you have an account? Who has an account on Alchemy? I know they are big, but the Roll20 interface is uninspired and the dev pace has been glacial. For sure. Definitely have knocks on Roll20. Roll20 has soured me on their platform. They have single-handedly driven me bonkers. They positive in RPGs. Huh. Roll20 to me is like the crappy game store. There are certain things that just get me riled up. And Roll20's lack of doing anything. And I think, here's the thing. I only think the reason they're doing anything at this point is because there's VTTs everywhere. I think that's the only reason. If we were still stuck before the pandemic, I think Roll20 they would probably improve a little, but it's not like, hey, we're going to change our interface. Oh, and we're going to merge with drive-through, right? Because lest you forgot, drive-through and Roll20 are now still the same company. So Chris says no one will ever get the VTT right because everyone uses it for different reasons. Harrigan says, agree to disagree, Chris, but there are certain obvious things missing for non-D&D battle map games. Ty says, yeah, Sean, but you will see the light and get out of the dark side and join me. Hope reigns eternal, Ty. Wayne says, I think there will be flavors of VTT. I like Foundry for some games. Owlbear is my fave for lighter theater of the mind style games. Harrigan says, index cards, whiteboards, integrated chat, video, audio, custom, easy to make, good looking character sheets, a good dice roller. Is that all? Is that it? Too funny. Nubis says Roll20 feels old from the few times I've used it. It feels old because it is old. It's one of the freaking first ones out there, and it's still the same. Until that May UI change, it is the exact same user interface that it's been since its inception. That is tragic, in my opinion. And probably because they're probably not making a butt ton of money, and they got a small crew, and they haven't had to do anything. Because why? You want a VTT? Where else are you going to go? That's not the deal anymore. And fog. Fog is huge and lacking. For example, in-roll. Yeah. Chris says, a VTT for everyone would have to have so much modularity it's beyond what any one developer could put together. Nubis says, tragic indeed, and it shows. Yeah. Chris, you know the deal. it is a platform that is never going to meet the needs of everybody, for sure. Harrigan's like, hey, index cards. Doesn't have index cards. He's like, I'm out, right? I don't think he's that shallow, but you know what I'm saying. He could say, doesn't have index cards or whiteboards. I need that for how I run my games. And everybody else would be like, I don't use those, so it's good for me. That's where the big old schism comes in. And some of that is some deep work. So you kind of like, well, do we do index cards and whiteboards for this percent of the user base? And they go, it's not justifiable. So no. And then they don't. And then that group may say, okay, that's fine or not. I don't know. Let's talk about, like, I don't want to go on a tangent necessarily, but why not? Why not? The VTT space is a big part of the RPGs nowadays. I mean, I'm playing only with people that are remote. I'm not playing anything locally. So for everybody that doesn't need a VTT, they're all playing local games, and that's fine, right? Some of you are in the chat and tuned in and say, like, this doesn't pertain to me, which I'm going to probably lose you guys. But nonetheless, you guys might be even a better target audience because, you know, what would it take for you to use a VTT? I mean, like, you know, part of the experience of RPGs is so personal and so interesting because we've always been and many of us will be like, I only play face-to-face, and we've all played face-to-face. We could say that not everybody has done VTT, but we can say that for most of us that have played role-playing games, we've all played face-to-face. And some of us are like, that's the experience of it. And somebody would say, well, why do you like playing face-to-face? Well, it's the socialization. Everybody's at the table. I can get up and get a soda or some snacks, and people bring over food. And, you know, Jeff's wife would always put on a spread for us. And that's the experience. We play for 6 to 8 hours, and I just don't want to do that sitting at a desk and a computer, which I totally get. But what if that was, like, removed? And let's also consider this for a second, that the spread and, you know, going to get a soda or, you know, drink, you could do that in your own house. Not the spread so much, but there's a difference between, like, what do we need in a game? Like the game itself, the game experience. Some would say, but John, it's the whole thing. It's a combination of everything. True, but let's face it, a VTT is not going to, like, put out veggies and dip and all this other good stuff. I think we know what's bad in a VTT, and is augmented reality going to fix that? So instead of driving across town, if you had everybody at the table, like, I think that's where it is. I think that's crazy, probably crazy long down the road. And it's probably not going to be VTT. Like, it's probably going to start in the enterprise of corporate America, where if they keep pushing for remote, that's the weird thing. Oh, God, a whole nother ball game. But let's say they say we're going to work remote, but the metaverse, if you will, because some people are using that and they enjoy and what it allows. But what if right now you're playing with a group of VTT users every week, which I do, right? Harrigan's in that group, Wayne's in that group, and we literally sat at the same table, but we're sitting in our living room or we're sitting in our basement. But literally you look around with the headset and it looks like you are all in the same uniform room. And when you look over at the person on your left or across the table, it looks exactly like them. Not some weird freaking goofy avatar or anything like that, but literally looks just like them. And if the person's running the game and they want to put 3D terrain on there, like you're in a room that you were physically in, or they just decide, no, that's too much of a pain in the butt. This is how I run my games. And there's a DM or GM screen. And, you know, when you roll the dice, they hit the table and you could pick it up with your hands and kind of flick your hands out in the dice roll. Like, I think that's where it's at for us, for RPGers. Having that flexibility. Harrigan could do his virtual index cards because all he'd have to do is put on his little headset, log in, maybe even log into a computer and just type them out. But when he ports it into the game, they're physical index cards. He could, grab them with his hands and flip through them. That's where I think it needs to be. But I don't think that's gonna, I think some of these folks are short-sighted. They, Steve Jobs, don't give them what they think they need. Give them what that they need. I don't know what it is, right? Henry Ford, if people wanted a better mode of transportation, they would have built a better buggy, right? We need to move it forward faster. I don't know if the technology is there, and I don't know if the cost is there. That's probably the beef. So now they got all these engineers and developers that are still stuck in web, and so that's what they do. So it's about the web interface and how you interact through it in the web. So there's a chat panel, and you got to show something. So there's a table screen for you, and yeah, there's probably character sheets, whether they're done by the developer or not. And I just think it's for RPGs, yeah, it does the trick. It's a better buggy. Phew, I lost some of you. You guys went off and I lost track. Miro, Board, and Zoom were pretty great for my crew in early pandemic. Yeah. And that's, look, don't get me wrong. If you got something that works for you and you're happy with it, great. Here's my knock on with Tad. You got to log into Miro. You got to have Zoom. So there's 2 apps, right? So, and you get one person that's not overly technical, and that becomes a big pain in the ass. I mean, my point is it could be better, right, Tad? Does the trick? Sure. That's what I think. I think we're mediocre. We're settling. That's the thing. Yep, it does the job. Fantasy Grounds is great. It's extremely customizable, right? Nubis, yeah, it's good. It does what I need. Tabletop Simulator can handle most of it, but that's the barrier to entry. Well, and that's the thing. I have Tabletop Simulator. I've never loaded it because I don't know how hard it is and how easy it is. It could be a major pain in the butt. And I think Roger has it because he was going to offer to run a game, and he's like, we'll just run Tabletop. I think it was Battletech. Roger's going to, and you could do Tabletop Simulator. But how, he says, I wish Tabletop Simulator was more widely adopted as a VTT. Yeah, and Chris says it's hard to set up. There you go. Just you guys saying that and writing it off. It's not oh, but it's great. Roger says, I wish it was more widely adopted. Well, why isn't it? Chris, right after that, says it's hard to set up. And I trust you both. So why the hell would I even go out of my way to deal with that thing? Tim says VTT play is just so slow. Why is it slow, Tim? How is it slow? Help me out. Wayne says Foundry has a regular dev schedule, open marketplace, but that means stuff breaks as they work on it. Much of it gets fixed, but it is not a platform for the folks who don't want to tinker. Harrigan says, Chris is right. Tabletop Simulator is far from what I want. Ty says, why use a VTT when we have Discord? Well, okay. So what does that mean, Ty? You use Discord, you use the die roller in text on Discord, and you use the audio video? I mean, that could be anything. So why Discord, right? Would be my rebuttal to that. If it works for you, great. And if you have all the users on Discord, they all know how to use Discord, there's no barrier to entry, great. It's still something we're settling for, I think, in the RPG space. I don't know, man. Get bigger. Think bigger. Nubis says I'm an outlier and not the target audience for VTTs, but I love how friendly Albert Radio was for in-person gaming. External monitors showing images, fog on maps, notes for players. that is an interesting thing to note. Nubis, you bring up a good point. Like, if you had a VTT and you could use it face to face, would it benefit you? Because maybe that's not far off the mark. Because there's something to be said about, oh, I'm going to lug 2 freaking cartons, 2 tubs of miniatures to my game. Oh, and never mind every freaking single book that I need, which I'll never tap into because I just need 2 to run the game. But I'm going to bring my entire D&D 5e library, because you never know when I'm going to have to bust something out of Xanathar's guide or Volo's. And like, I remember my buddy Dustin, he was in here last week, Prenzlau. He'd show up with like 4 tubs of miniatures. Now, some of you might say, well, that's just bad planning. If you just know what you're going to run and you could pull them out and put them on the table. But what if you run a little more ad hoc and you want to put the nice, accurate piece on the table? Oh, Dwarven Forge. You know, I like the 3D print terrain. It's really cool and awesome. But so there's the benefit of taking all that and taking it to digital. Well, in order to do digital, you got to have a TV. You got to have a projector. You got to have a computer. You got to have something. Like, I think even Hasbro and their VTT for D&D it's still coming up short. It's settling. But the problem is are you going to get your DM and your players to all buy the same goggles? Because that's not even, like, the standard hasn't even been set yet. Oh, do I get an Oculus or do I get a HoloLens? Oh, those aren't cheap. How often am I going to use this thing? Wayne says, do you have a Windows gaming machine? I love Linux and Android. Foundry is going to be a comfortable experience for you. That's another thing. So then you got the goofiness of the platforms, right? That's why web seems to be where it's at, right? If it can run in a web browser, it could potentially run at least on your desktop, but maybe not on your tablet. Tim says, whenever I've played on a VTT, someone always has a technical or connection issues. It never fails. Yeah. Which is so odd. Like, I agree with you, Tim. There are people that are cursed in my life. Like, no matter how many times you show them tech or they are more further educated on tech, they're just plagued by the tech gods. Jeff, always technical problems. He'd never call me during the week. He worked remote. Like, he'd have his laptop. He'd take it to work, come home. You know, he'd get it to work and get on the internet. Fire it up for a D&D game. All hell broke loose. Like, what is going on? All the other folks, probably no problem. My sister-in-law, just terrible luck with technology. Probably for a variety of reasons, but I agree. What is that? But what is the issue? Like, gotta just connect to a web page, man. Flint says, the older I get, and I'm all old already. Well, you're Flint Fireforge. You're like, what, if you like a couple 100 years old? Someone always has technical or connection issues. Oh, that's what, whoops, sorry, Tim. Flint, the older I get, and I'm old already, I want a simpler VTT, not a more complicated one. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Chris says, I just know some people will want the 3D terrain building, and some people just want to scribble things, and some want note cards, and some want a token on 2D map experience. It's just so all over the place. It is. And that's the thing. So it's going to be either you understand and grok that, and it's a WYSIWYG editor. Set up new game. Great. Are you heavy on miniatures and terrain and da-da-da-da-da? Yes. Are you more theater of the mind? Need a character sheet? Like, it should almost be like, I want just a list of features, and you go, check, 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 create, boom. Right? Foundry does that to some degree, but it's all based on modules, and you don't know what modules do what, and you don't know what and there's tons of flipping settings. Like, I think it's just, there is something to be said about Basecamp, formerly 37 Signals. Their company, Ruby on Rails shop, they created Basecamp, which is a project management platform. And one of the things that they've always kind of stood on, principles that they've stood on, is this is the product we offer. This is the features it has. This is it. Here you go. It's affordable. It's not Microsoft project. It could be used in the enterprise. We're a small to mid-sized, probably target audience or client base, but they will make modifications to it and updates and maybe another feature or two, but it is not a rush for them to grow 50% year over year. Like, it's a very interesting, they've written a couple books, like Rework is a book for them. And they're like, they have corporate philosophical differences than some of the other corporate differences here in the US. But I only say that because people would be like, God, I really wish your platform would do X. Yep, we appreciate that. If you need that, that's down the street. That's not us. And I just wonder with VTTs if it's just that. Like, if you want this experience, that's us. And we do it really well, and that's all. And we will keep it up to date, and it'll be accessible, and it'll be affordable, and it's going to have these core features, and it's very uniform across. And that might be owlbear for some of us, right? Foundry is a beast. And I get why people don't want to adopt it. Anyways, we could go on forever in this space. Orca says, what would sell me is the ability to create an interactive character sheet for any system without requiring a BA in programming. It's still kind of a pain in the ass, right? You kind of almost have to have, like, who creates character sheets anyway? The company, right? So if they could get somebody that creates their core character sheet for digital platform, maybe great. But there's lots of us that do character sheets. Not me, but I would like to. If I was a good designer, there's some cool character sheets out there that I would love to, like, come up with. Maybe that's create a character sheet for this system and then allow it to port. Roll does that. Play on Roll, you can create your character sheet and then you can put it in their library so that if anybody plays Cold Shadows, they could use my character sheet if they want. Roll20, I don't think is wholly different either. You can create a character sheet on Roll20. But going back to your point, Orcus, you don't want to be a developer to have to do that. So I get it. Roll is 80% there, Wayne says. Yeah. But that last 20% is rough. Yeah, for sure. Roger says, yeah, there's a much larger learning curve, I think, with TTS than with other VTT platforms. And he's talking about Tabletop Simulator. Flint says, I just started using video with my longtime group, and the difference was big. Just the visual enhanced our game, which speaks to why, for me, meeting in person is better than online. Right. Let's face it, though. Meeting in person's a pain in the ass, too. Like, I get it, but there are people that drive like a half hour. I can't stand driving. Like, even a Doc's place, it's 10 minutes. I can't stand driving across town. I got no patience for driving anymore. Not to mention my Jeep gets shitty gas mileage. Not a big deal. I mean, what am I going to spend? It's probably... Doc's house is quite literally 6 miles from my house. Well, it's 12 miles round trip. In my Jeep, that's almost a gallon of gas. Not a huge deal. I mean, the Americans have been spoiled forever when it comes to the price of gas, but still, it just, man, if somebody, like Aaron was here earlier. He's like right up the street. Like, if I had a local neighborhood game, like literally walk there, that would be kind of cool, but I don't know. I like the guys I game with online. And I find that experience isn't as bad as maybe for some of us. And that could be for a variety of reasons. Like, I don't work at the same computer I do this, which helps. Yeah, I don't know. It's personal choice. Anyways, where am I? Orcus Dorcas says, I remember loading TTS on my old PC and it made my computer sound like it was about to take off from LAX. I think the graphic requirements may be too much for your average PC, for sure. Flint says, yeah, but this is where D&D Beyond is handy for rules. If you go physical, that's on your back. Yeah, for sure. Like we could make a list. Like one Saturday, we should just go, we're going to make our own virtual tabletop. This is what we're going to do. Ready? We're going to brainstorm. We're going to put checklists. We're going to list all the features, going to make all kinds of sticky notes, and then we're going to prioritize them. Must have, nice to have, long term down the road. Send it out to all the VTT makers. I don't know. I'm sure they've done this. I don't know. Alchemy never asked me. I'm sure they've got to have done some market research. Like, what do people need? And for, let's face it, some of these are done by gamers. So how biased are they? Well, I like to do my games like this, and so I'm going to run this VTT like this. I got to imagine there's some influence from them, right? Based on their own biases. Roger says VTTs are like ERP systems. They almost have to be specifically tailored to the individual company table to get the most out of it. Yeah. Tad, yeah, that's Albert. Wayne says, I really like Foundry for my crunchy games. Running Forbidden Lands in real life and Foundry now. There's stuff we miss about Foundry when playing in real life. Great integrations and tracking. And that's a good point, Wayne. I ran Forbidden Lands. Tim Willow was at my table. Tim's significant other, Willow, was in my game for Forbidden Lands at Gamehole Con. I run, 10 sessions of Forbidden Lands. Get it at the table. Whoa, okay, this is a little bit different. I got to bring, cards for initiative. Yeah, I should probably have those. Oh, and never mind the dice. Oh, special dice. Does everybody have special dice? Like, I had to rethink my brain because I'd never run Forbidden Lands face to face. VTTs can be cheap, fast, or good. Pick one. It's actually pick two, and you can't have cheap and good in the same. I think that's how it goes. Title Crapier, designing character sheets is tricky. Feels like there's either too much information or to track or barely any. Your text is tiny or large. Gotta have the option to zoom in for us old guys. Orcus Dorcas, there are other people actually playing Cold Shadows out there? Maybe, I don't know. They could. I got the character sheet on roll. Wayne says, God knows, Sean, I'm glad we have the dice interpreter for your Fantasy Flight game, Star Wars game. For sure. So your crunchy games like FFGs, SWs, something like Foundry is a help. Sure, but could you do it with a dice roller? Like, here's the thing, Wayne. I went searching. There's die rollers, and what you could do, because they're mobile optimized on a phone, you could actually go to that page and you could save that page to your desktop on your phone. If you're an iOS user, there you go. You got an app. Because you can pick Star Wars dice and just hit the buttons for the dice. That's the only drawback, is you'd literally have to create your die pool. If you're at the table, you'd have to anyway. There's no clicking the skill. Which makes it pretty easy. But I agree, in that case, it gets funky and it speeds up things in that regard. One of the rare instances, for sure. So I totally get you. I'm with you, man. Ty says, sometimes I feel old to learn something new. Yeah. I would say essential, Wayne. Old age is mood. Oh, man. See you, Harrigan. Wasn't Roll20 notorious for deleting negative comments and complaints on their forums? I don't know. Maybe. Ignoring, like sticking your head in the sand. That's why one reason I don't want to go back to Roll20. It's just like, if you haven't improved now you want to? And I've already left. It's kind of like trying to retain a client after they left because you didn't cater to what they like about your product or company or service. Ty says, too bad there's not a website that you just type in what you're looking for in a VTT and it will point you in the direction of what comes closest to what you want and need. One show, Sean got to run. All right, see you, Chris. Tad says the FFG Star Wars dice rolling app on an iPad at the table works like a dream. Yeah, you still got to do the die pool. Tad, if you have a character sheet in Forge, you just click the skill and it'll automatically populate the dice. That's the big advantage. And I think there's an app you can get on your phone that might do that. Or there was. I don't remember. I don't think it's Ogdude. But the dice, like the dice app is good. But like you still have to do the pool. You like Genesis better? The only difference between Genesis and Star Wars tie is the setting. And the symbols. Like literally what a success symbol looks like. So having said that, I will say that you like Star Wars. FFG Star Wars. All right, let's get going. Alchemy, I'm going to check out. I might kick in for that. And maybe I'll buy one of those things. Like I'll get in on one and maybe it'll be one of these Free League. You know, I don't know. Part of me is like, I want to get away from tokens. Like, I don't want to deal with tokens and positioning and da-da-da-da-da. Like, but at times, even at Star Wars, it's nice to drop stormtroopers on the map and I don't know. Yeah. And even Twilight 2000, right? Twilight 2000 is a very tactical game. So I think I'm going to have to like have a VTT to play that, even if I ran it in face-to-face, which I want to do at like Gamehole Con this year. I want to run Twilight 2000, but it may be a different beast face-to-face. Like there's a lot to that game, I think, when it comes to tactical positioning, stuff like that. So we'll see. Flint says maybe we should ask Chat GPT to design us one. That's a good one. All right. So Alchemy. There you go. What else? What else are we going to talk about, Sean? All right. So people are like, Sean, you talking more about this? Quit talking about D&D. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some Kickstarters that may not be on EN Worlds because it's still early yet. Somebody posted this one, Ronin. I guess it depends on where you grew up. Based on the Merkborg. This is how I have a metal role-playing game. The Merkborg you know and love, disemboweled and resurrected on the island of Cage, no Shima, death before surrender. So if you like Merkborg and you like ninjas, samurais, maybe there's samurais, I don't know. This is one you want to check. Look at that. I'll tell you what, I'll give people for Merkborg credit. Some of the folks, like, they get the aesthetic. No question. Whether you like it or not, you're like, that's Merkborg stuff, right? They're different. Like, I personally appreciate the layout and the design of these works. I really do. I don't have Merkborg. I have Cyborg. I do not have Pirate Borg. And I don't have Ronin, obviously, because it's Kickstarted. And I don't have any other supplements. But, and you might hate this. That's okay. It's not your jam, but at least have the appreciation for the work that goes into this. Because coming up with, first of all, you got to come up with this, and then you got to implement it. And it's got to make relatively decent sense for the person that's going to use it. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Ty, let's see if you add the Kickstarters pointed out in Discord or not. There was only one. I think this was it. No, the only one that somebody posted in me to announce this weekend tie was Nubis. Nubis, I think he posted Knave. Otherwise, I think there's some Kickstarters maybe in the Kickstarter promotions channel. I will have to double check. I probably didn't, honestly. I'll pull up Discord maybe and bop over. That's the problem. Kickstarters are all over the place. On our Discord, they're in promotions. They're under Hot RPG. They're all somewhere else. Ian World, that's where I usually go. But they're not going to post it until like they're 2 weeks out or a week left. This is pretty good. This looks cool. So yeah, check that out. Let's see. Ronin, Indiana Jones, or Diana Jones, I guess, if you want to pronounce it that way. I say Deanna because it's from Indiana Jones, not Indiana Jones. They mentioned the 4 winners of this year's Emerging Designer Program. Looks like Anthony Joyce Rivera, Hispanic 2-time Emmy-nominated game designer, entertainment and gaming military consultant, and an active duty U.S. Army strategist. Aaron Roberts, writer of stories and games who enjoys bringing imagined worlds to life. Recent work includes the adventure Written in Blood and for the Dungeons & Dragons adventure book Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. Kayla Dice has been publishing games. Kayla Dice. Is that her real last name? Kayla Dice has been like... You were destined to be an RPG designer, or a casino craps player. Kayla Dice has been publishing games since December 2020. Her games focus on themes of alienation and connection, with emphasis on straightforward to gasp rules and evocative flavor. Sen HHS is a Taiwanese freelance TTRPG writer who has self-published and written for many publishers and projects. Her credits include Raja Elements, Tian Sha, and Paizo's Bestiary 3. And then special thanks to the sponsors, Bundle Holding and Gen Con. So if you want to, you could, I didn't think I bookmarked the, what's up, Mort? Oi, oi, oi. So if you want to go to their website, Deanna Jones, they will list some of these details. Congratulations to all of those folks. Giving them some kudos and some recognition. Up-and-coming designers. Let me see. Oh, yeah, let me see. Ooh. Closing some of these tabs because Chrome and, memory. Oh, here it is. Here's the website. I did bookmark it, so I'll put that in the chat. Okay. Do. Bruce, you missed all the hullabaloo. Good afternoon, by the way. Good to see you, buddy. Let's see. Citizen Sleeper? You guys know what Citizen Sleeper is? Getting an RPG. Citizen Sleeper is getting turned into a tabletop RPG alongside a design-focused art book from Lost in Cult. One of 2022's bestest games, tabletop-ish RPG, Citizen Sleeper is now being turned into an actual tabletop game called Cycles of the Eve. Oh, really? Seriously? Cycles of the Eve, designed by series creator Gareth Damian Martin and longtime TTRPG smith Alfred Valley. Indie book publisher Lost in Cult have launched their latest campaign to crowdfund Cycles of the Eye, as well as their next art book focused on the game's dystopian cyberpunk world. I am not familiar with the video game. It's like kind of a no-brainer. You got a video game? Do a tabletop RPG. Or have some studio do it. Have Todd do it. Have Chris do it. Call them. So check that out if you'd like to know more about Citizen Sleeper, aka Cycles of the Eve. Nubis. Citizen Sleeper sci-fi game, PC game, very TTRPG-ish play. Well, there you go. So the port's probably not that far. That's good. That's cool. Anybody got that on their radar? Like, that's what I'm going to get, man. I get my eye on that, dude. I got my eye on that, man. I know Mr. Salzwedel from our Discord doesn't tune in. Actually, he does watch us sometimes after the fact. And he's got to have his eye on this one. This is Aether Nexus, Fantasy Mecha, TTRPG. He's from the Mecha Hack, powered by the Mecha Hack, or the Mecha, powered by the Mecha Hack. High fantasy world shattered by calamity and preserved by etheric knights. Etheric knights, clad in artifact armor. Cool. Yeah, he's interested in that one. Kelly knows. Yeah. He is out fishing today. That's right. I saw him get up early. There you go. So if you want to check that out, notify me on launch. Get that little, get that bar. Okay. I don't know much more about it than that. If you like mechas, if you like the mecha hack. I can't stand this guy. He just butchers words. Drives me nuts. I can't watch him. All right. 2D20 World Builders. Whoop! Now, this was announced. I don't know if this was announced at the same time, but Modifius has got that community license people can take advantage of. I wanted to bring this up because I missed it, but they streamed live at the moment, I think, was a content program and an introduction to the 2D20 World Builders. I don't know, Gabe, if you had seen this, if you're still around, if you had watched this or not, even after the fact. But if you're interested in making stuff for 2D20, I imagine this is probably pretty helpful. So, talking about even some of the licensing, creators get 50% of sales. Haven't watched it yet. Okay. So, guide for creating content. It's a Q&A with Chris Birch. I don't know if he just talks about more of how the licensing works. Like, oh, here's the verbiage, but he just says it. Or if they actually go into, here are some tips and tricks on how to make things happen. It says any IP you create or bring to the program is yours and does not become part of the program. You're free to develop it elsewhere with another rule system or make a movie or graphic novel, etc. So that's good. Some of the details here. So also with links to drive-throughs instructions, how to publish your content, drive-throughs community content knowledge base, view 2D20 World Builders content guidelines, download the system reference, creator resources. So a lot of good resources here for anybody that wants to check into 2D20 stuff. And then there's also an incentive program that they looks like Modifius has kindly agreed to match the first $100 in royalties to the first 5 people that list a piece of content. Gotta imagine that's there's been that many already. Get noticed. They do newsletter. So some of the nice thing about it is like, hey, if you do kind of adhere to our content guidelines, here's what we're willing to do to promote your stuff, which is, I think, nice, because I always think that it's like, well, you're doing it like we're giving you our stuff to use, like our SRD. And so, yeah, you can put our logo on your book. It would be nice if some of these indie folks that are so goo gaga about some of these systems and games got a little bit more than. It just seems so. I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at. Join the email. There you go. Oh, what is this? Man, OBS must just kill my computer. I just don't understand it. One more multiverse. This is another VTT. Have you guys heard of this one? If you're in the Modi mailing list, community stuff is regularly profiled now. Yeah. Oh, it is. Okay, good to know. I haven't seen it as prevalent, but I might not be paying close enough attention. So you play for free. Start your next adventure in minutes with powerful tools built alongside our community. One more, Multiverse is perfect for the first-time players and long-time game masters alike. Anybody check out this VTT? Roger says, I have some content for OMM. Oh, do you? Instantly create a cinematic world. Create custom characters, explore pre-made levels, build your own world using 4,000 art assets. Use vibe filters, weather effects, thrilling animations, and make every moment of your story cinematic. Oh, do we want all that? Do we need all that? It is an interesting look and feel, for sure. I could have swore we've talked about this. Might have been a long time ago. Yes, I think that's what it was. Blades in the Dark. I brought this up online. Did I not? I'm pretty sure. Huh, interesting. It's come back around full circle. Yes, I know. Now I know this. Because you could play the demo. It was very like 16-bit, 8-bit, 16-bit, and you just kind of took your guy and like went room to room, and there was yes. And I think at the time it was really just Blades in the Dark. Yes, I think I brought this up on stream. I know, otherwise I might have, in my own brain, did it on my own and didn't do it on stream. Anyways, maybe I should do the old version of sending email for you to see the awesome stuff I see, Sean. Sure, I guess, but don't send me APs, Ty. Like, I don't want links to APs. Let's see what else. Bundle holding. Here's a bundle I thought people might like. FASA Traveler. For all you Traveler fans that just can't get enough of Mongoose. Games Workshop? Is it not Games Workshop? Is it Games Workshop? No, I don't know. Games Workshop, 40K, right? Traveler, whatever. I got it mixed up. FASA Traveler, Classic Traveler line from FASA. For like $10, plus the bonus collection. Plus it goes to charity. Traveler, man. Beast. All right. What else we got? Trucking. Age. Want to know what's going on with Age? Any Age fans out there? Wayne, Sean, for all the creators out there, anyone participating in Drive-Thru RPG's Pocket Quest 2023? Anybody? Anyone? Bueller? If you are participating in Drive-Thru RPG's Pocket Quest and you are not watching this live, put it down in the comments. So Green Ronin, Fantasy Age 2nd edition. This is kind of their like, hey, this is what we're going to try to do with 2nd edition. So kind of, I guess that's, I don't know, roadmap might be a stretch, but regardless, they have the core book behind them. They said one with 2nd edition. One would think I might be talking about a moment to relax. We got the book out, right? No need to rush ahead. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm already neck deep in the first few supplements, says Ian Lemke. With lots more to come, so what can you expect to see in the coming months? Well, sit back and let me spin you a yarn of what we've got in store for you. Right out of the gate, they're talking set sail for Breakwater Bay. Shipboard adventure full of horror and intrigue. Several adventures for the Breakwater Bay setting. Second edition quick start and Fantasy Age Game Master's Kit. Both of these features and adventures written by amazing Steve Kenson, industry veteran. I should have said industry veteran Steve Kenson. Breakwater Curse, included with the GM's kit, explores the dark history of Breakwater Bay and the terror of the ghost ship, featured in the quick start. In case you thought that was all, hang tight, there's more. First major supplement plan is a 5-part adventure series called The Lost Isle of the Pirate Queen that begins in Breakwater Bay. Oh, they like their pirates and water and ships, don't they? Over at Green Ronin. And explores much of Casa Isle and beyond. The series is packed full of adventure, horror, and whimsy. Takes characters all the way to 11th or 12th level. We're up to 8 adventures now, all of which could be stung into one campaign with little or no work on behalf of the GM. So what next, you ask? I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I'll give you a glimpse. A new, massive bestiary called Adversaries and Encounters is already well underway. This massive tome will feature monsters and other adversaries, both old and new. But even those you may have seen before have fresh new takes and variations. Finally, we've got the book I'm most excited about, Stranger Shores. Slated for 2024 is going to provide the nautical-themed campaign setting for Fantasy Age that you've always wanted, even if you didn't know it. The book will be crammed full of details on new islands and continents made accessible with the Mystic Navigator talent. Most of these lands, here's where it is. I'm waiting for this to come through. Most of these lands are completely new, but you'll also find some old favorites, such as the ever-popular Freeport setting. There it is. We'll also feature expanded rules for seafaring campaigns so you can live your pirate dreams. Yeah, pirates. Okay. Ty says, but it was a AP for Star Wars game done on ICRPG. 2 of your favorite things, Sean? Yeah, I'm torn on APs, Ty. I really am. I was interested to hear about how somebody would port ICRPG or Star Wars to ICRPG. And then it was like Mandalorians, and everybody was a Mandalorian. So to me, it was very, okay, create one kind of class archetype, and then everybody's playing that, and here's the AP. So to me, it was a little, You did stuff on promotions? I know you did. Promotions always kind of a crapshoot. All right, here, what else? Gamma Expo News, R. Talsorian reveals new deets on Cyberpunk Red RPG book, Danger Gal Dossier. Releases in summer of 2023. That's not too far away. The book was originally announced back in 2022 to arrive in Q4. That's a little late. See new supplements for Cyberpunk. Danger Gal Dossier is a faction and NPC guide that contains information on 17 factions in Night City, ranging from fringe edge runner groups to megacorp operatives. It also has tats and bios on over 100 NPCs, as well as guidelines to help players create their own NPCs. Additionally, the book comes with new missions set for Night City, where players have been hired to figure out how a bunch of newbie edge runners managed to infiltrate Danger Gal HQ. There you go. Cyberpunkers. Wait. What else? All right. Here, that one, maybe this is a good one. So, indiegamerreadingclub.com. I picked this because, well, it's something a little different. And I don't think they need some more exposure. So the Indie Game Reading Club did Q1 reviews. It's part 3, I think, halfway there. So Avatar, the role-playing game. I'm not going to go through every review, but there's some games I wasn't aware of that I wanted to like maybe point out. So Avatar, the role-playing game, talks about that pretty in detail. Desperation, I've not heard. This is by Jason Morningstar, so not a slouch in the game design world under Bully Pulpit. So if you don't know Jason Morningstar, he did Fiasco, did Night Witches, and probably tons of other ones that I'm missing. Those are the big ones. Is actually 2 card-driven story games in one box. They both use the same system. They are both so bleak, but also tinged with jet black comedy. If you've played other Morningstar jams like Fiasco, you know what I mean. Core mechanic conceit of Desperation is that the central creative tension when you play isn't deciding what terrible things to say, but who says the terrible things. To repeat something I said in the intro, I haven't played these games, so I really don't know how it plays out, but that's the thing the game does. Check that out. Claw Atlas, I've seen that somewhere. Popped up in the middle of 2022 to some very light hype among folks I respect. It's an expansion to a previous game called Beak, Feather, and Bone. Some of you might know this one. Tim says, just got my copy of Desperation. I knew you'd be on it, Tim. Claw Atlas popped up in the, like I said, okay. BFB describes itself as a light competitive map-making game. Is it an RPG? Oh gosh, who cares? If The Quiet Year is an RPG, Beak is right there with it. Play couldn't be simpler. Start with an overhead city map. The original game came with one. Claw Atlas adds 10 more. Choose a faction of bird people you'll represent. The game says it can handle 10 players. There are 12 total factions between Beak and Claw. You can also just choose to play more than one faction, whatever. I'm not your dad. It's not that kind of light competitive game. In fact, I'd say it's not competitive at all. So through the course of play, players take turns drawing cards from a standard deck of playing cards. The suit tells you what kind of building you're going to talk about. The value tells you how much sway your faction has in the city. You pick a building on your map, color it in with your color, and then say what folks say about the place. Beak. What it looks like. Feather. And what it hides inside. Bone. Do that 4 or 5 times, you've just played the game. Highest total value of cards you've drawn gets to end out the game by defining the map's seat of power. That's it. And that's why it's not really competitive at all. You have no control over the card values, just your descriptions. It also is kind of microscope trick where folks define elaborate histories for their games and then play a different game in the setting. Yeah, it's almost like a writer table game, right? Anybody play that yet? I think that was it for this particular article. Claw and Atlas was the one that kind of stuck out to me. Wah, wah. All right. Chaosium. Basic role-playing game. Need some character sheets. There's 12-page character sheets pack. If you're playing basic role-playing universal game engine. Grab it while you can. Build the game you want. ORC license. Where's my BRP fans? What does this cost anyway? If you buy it in physical. $25. I used to have it, the yellow version. This is an updated version, but I used to have the old yellow book. I don't think I ever played. It. Oh boy. Avatar's doing Kickstarter for the next book of the New Republic, Kara World. Oh boy. See what that does. Nubis. Haven't forgotten about you, buddy. Thanks for posting that, by the way. For this stream area. Knave. Knave. 2nd edition. $422,000 of a $10,000 goal. Ben Milton. Questing Beast fame. I know some people here are going in on the Knave. He's done Maze Rat's Knave, The Walking Willoughby, Hall, and Jim Henson's something. What else did he do? Labyrinth. Oh, I didn't know he was in on that. I did not know Ben was involved in that. I did not know Ben was in Kansas. Knave 2E is an exploration-driven fantasy RPG and world-building toolkit inspired by the best elements of the old-school D&D movement. Well, there you go. What is the PDF? Maybe I'll get the PDF. I don't know. $20? 15 more and I get the PDF and print. I'm never going to play it. I bet you it's probably a sweet looking book though. Free preview is available. I should probably put this in the chat, huh? For all you neighbors. Are you a neighbor? Hey, neighbor. Howdy, neighbor. Tad says I back Knave just for the awesome random tables. Well, okay. I've heard some people like it's cool. You could build a campaign. These guys, look at this. This here, yeah, this is the YouTube. These guys just like feed each other. What a bubble. Baron, Dave, Professor DM. Like it's funny how like all of a sudden Knave second edition's announced and all of them do the same video at the not the same video, cover the same, like here, all in the same week. Ah, God. Do I need this? Do I need this? Do I need this? I gotta just pick a lane. I gotta pick a lane. Like, especially for fantasy. Pick a lane. I'm gonna pick 5e as my lane. If it's not 5e, forget about it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe it's Swords and Wizardry. I don't know. What do we want to do here? What do we want to do? I haven't gone through crowdfunding news, and I haven't gone through print news, and I don't know if it really matters. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of other newer things that have caught my eye. I'm closing all my tabs. WotC 5e or one of those, or one of the clones. Yeah. I don't know. What? Like, I don't know. I love it. It's supposed to be I don't care. There's just so much. I wish Hoos were here. Where's Hoos? Because Harnworld is here. Look at that. Harnworld gets a kingdom supplement, complete with a map and Shadowrun. Oh, complete with a map and Shadowrun gets 3 supplements. Kingdom of Kanday by Columbia Games is for Harnworld. You know, Hoos is all over that. Pick a 5e lane. I know, Tad, right? $40. Shadowrun. Program deck, Rogues lineup, Astro Ways, 6th edition. Ooh, what's this? This is in Broken Compass. Or Broken Compass, depending on where you're from. Broken Compass has intrigued me, and I've played it. Thank you, Mirko. One shot. Got some stuff, though. Adventure Journal, Season 1, Golden Age, Season 2, Jolly Roger, Season 3, Voyages Extraordinaires. This may, and I mentioned, like, running a pulpy game. Doc Savage kind of feel, and that may be the way to go. It's an interesting game, I know for sure. and I don't have it. I don't know, man. I gotta like have some discipline in on what I buy, because times are tough. How likely would I be to get this to the table? I don't know. But I like it from what I've witnessed. Mothership alternate classes from the Hectate sector by Joshua Justice. Joshua Justice. This here's Joshua Justice. Not to be confused with Main Justice. Oh, I had a sneeze. Liminal Casebook by Renegade Game Studios. It's almost $41. 14 adventures, including 5 completely new scenarios. Battle Lords of the 23rd Century. Hardcover supplement. That's out. Other Summers. System is 2 summers. $15. Softcover supplement. Includes options to create adventures as a group and or play without a GM. A darker version of the base game and a one-shot adventure to go with it. Mecha and Monsters Evolved by Gallant Knight Games. Mecha Monsters Evolved? Saul's Wheedle on this? Hardcover rulebook, $40. PCs play giant stompy robots defending civilization. What? Like, isn't it like Mecha? Like, Mecha should be. PCs play giant stompy robots defending civilization. Like, for every one of them. Awakened monsters wreaking havoc to teach mankind a lesson. Bizarre deep space hybrids and more. Yes. So you can play either mecha or kaiju. Sweet. Yeah, my fantasy, I just got to figure out, like, what I want to stick with. And I think it's going to be 5e. And I might just do it because of Ty. Ty, you've driven me to 5e. What can I say? It's all your fault, man. It's all your fault. Tim says, just get your wife, buy half of the new games for you, like me. Yeah, I can imagine. You guys got a collection. Ty Prunty Wild Sea. Okay, I'll do that. Gabe says that, Ty, I think I see what happened. I see a lot of your Kickstarter announcements in How to RPG. Maybe afterwards that Sean made a dedicated thread for 5-6 stream. Yeah. The 5-6, like I mentioned this in the How to RPG channel. Here's the thing with Kickstarters. EN World keeps track of them pretty well. And if I go over one that's like just started or not even started, it's going to end up here. So then I'm going to rehash it twice. So how to manage that? I haven't found a good way to do it. Checklist, which is a pain in the ass. So if I haven't talked about the Kickstarter, I apologize. If you want to yell about it in the chat, Ty, like Wild Sea, I'll pull it up here in a second. So here's some of the crowdfunding news on EN World, which means that these are probably a week or two out from ending, which is kind of like, if you haven't heard about it now, you may end up in the last push, which is fine, right? So, wow, look at this. Secrets of the Greenwald RPG campaign book and adventure bundle. Holy, but bonkers. All that comes with that. $200 is the most popular pledge. It's a 5th edition one. Did they get funded? Did it fund? I'm going to say, hell yeah, it funded. Look at all that stuff. Everything you need in one box. Need a campaign in a box? One with 2 books? 300 plus pages for the campaign and another with 150 pages of monsters, nearly 30 maps, terrain tiles, music, and everything you need to go from levels 1 to 10. Maps are 18 by 24, so they're good for all the encounters. Go from caravan guards to dragon slayers. Use the setting. It doesn't say. It doesn't say if it's funded. What? Oh, it's on Game Phone. That's why. Yeah, it's not on Kickstarter. It's on Game Phone. 124 grand. 130 pledged. Wait a minute. Goal of 20K. So yeah, it's definitely funded. The Mind Squatter. Playful sci-fi fairy tale RPG zine. Core rulebook, $20. Before we get into this RPG, the setup is odd and dark. It's not bad, and I don't want to present it as something that isn't cool. The game has a lot of potential, but you have to buy into the premise. If you take it literally without seeing its inspiration from Over the Garden Wall, Rugrats, Stranger Things, and Scooby-Doo, you might see this as more darkly criminal than whimsical weird. I mean, $1,600, $800 goal. Morrow Break, game of warped reflections. Original D12 system. D12, let's hear it for the D12. From Don't Hurt Birds. Core rulebook, 16 pounds for the PDF of the book. This is a world of fantasy noir, dungeon heist, and a setting that is intentionally illogical world. Using an original D12 system, you'll pull off jobs in the dungeon that is also the city, that is also the whole world. No sky, but there's a light and dark cycle. Interesting. It's funded. Congrats to them. Cipher system, Monty of the Cook of the Games. Isle of the Dreaded Accursed Cipher system from Mr. Tarrasque. Oh, so it's not from Monty Cook, it's from Mr. Tarrasque. It's an adventure. €20 for Cipher system. Plus a PDF of the 5e version and the Foundry VTT version. Vagabond. Tabletop RPG system core. An original system, core rulebook, $30. This is a new D20 system meant to offer fantasy with a mix of old school and modern RPG ideas. Player rolling, group initiative, AI monster attacks and morale, a luck system, and more to make this unique. It's not funded yet. 2 weeks to go, 25 grand goal, and only at 15. Why is that not funded? Return to Adventure. Polyhedral dice Adventure calendars. Advent calendars. Right? Yeah. Do you need a special treat for the holiday season? An Advent calendar that gives you dice for your collection. How about 3 calendars? That's pretty cool. Wow. 40 grand. It's funded at 42. Neuro City. See, Neuro City. Talked about that one last week. Now it's out there, and it's funded. World of Lumina. 5e supplement. Official settings of one-shot dungeon adventures. By Nerder Games. That's funded. €100 goal, and it's at 3 grand. That's funny. Inspired by Lank Martin. Birthright. There you go. That is all of the ones from RPG print news and RPG crowdfunding news. And what the other one? What is the other one? Wild Sea. Wild Sea. Dude, ties like Wild Sea, Sean. Wild Sea. Wild Sea. One word, not 2 words. Wild Sea. Ooh, Wild Sea. Wild Sea. There you go. Yeah, that's a big one. Vagabond is unique. Dude, I don't know, man. I just deliver. I'm just the messenger. Wild Sea, Storm and Root, First expansion of the Wild Sea, a weird fantasy tabletop role-playing game set in a rampant ocean of verdant green. 101 grand of a 40K goal with 4 days to go. Getting this one right in the wire. Ty, what else am I missing, Ty? Ty's like, you must back everything. Like, you were pretty plugged into the Kickstarter space. You backing this one, Ty? Wild Sea is a tabletop role-playing game for 2 to 6 players inspired by stories like Sunless Sea, Bastion, and the Balag trilogy. Set in a world overrun by greenery, Wild Sea uses a narrative fiction first D6 dice pool system that draws inspiration from games like Belly of the Beast, Blades in the Dark, and 13th Age. Download the free basic rules. Join the Discord. Come out to the coast. Have some drinks. All right, there you go. There you go. Storm and Root. Am I missing anything else, Ty? Going once, going twice, buddy. There's probably some on the Discord I missed for sure. Sometimes I think some going through some of the stuff's like trying to go through the entire RPG catalog on drive-thru. There's just so much. Vampire 5 is getting a LARP. Kelly, I did see that. I thought Vampire was a LARP. Oh, it's not on Kickstarter yet. Wow. Do I put it out there? Right? Is it on Kickstarter like for notification yet? Or is it just like, hey, we're gonna have a Kickstarter coming soon? It's good to know. What else did I miss? I miss anything else? Anything? Going once, going twice. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff today. Good guests. Good guests chat. Gotta run, have a weekend. See you, Orcus Dorcas. Everybody's taking off. We'll wrap it up. Wrap it up, Sean. Thanks for everybody joining. Hopefully you might have found a game that you want to buy because, you need another one. Maybe next week I'll talk about fantasy RPGs and how Sean needs to pick a lane. I don't think it's Forbidden Lands. I like Forbidden Lands, but it is, I would say it's a little outside of the fantasy. Like, I don't know. I think there's the different types of fantasy games, and maybe that's the discussion. I don't know. Ty says yes. Okay. Not sure. Tad, see ya. Like what kind of like, okay, Sean, Sean, you should play Shadow of the Demon Lord. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, Sean, 13th. Oh, yeah. Oh, Sean, you should play Pathfinder 2E. Oh, yeah. Knave. Like, there's just so many, and I don't know, like, Barbarians of Lemuria, and this and that. It's like, what? Like, I'll play them. I don't know if I want to buy them. Like, I should just go all in investment. Like Delta Green, Delta Green, it comes out, done. And I don't even have all the books yet. But Delta Green, like, that's probably one. Star Wars to some degree, but I don't have all the books of Star Wars either for Fantasy Flight games. And I got rid of my D20 Star Wars games, except for Saga Edition. I don't know why. Why have I kept Saga? Because I'm going to get it to the table and play it? I don't know. Why am I doing this? Maybe I need to sell it. I have D6 WEG. I want to run that. But yeah, fantasy, man. I just can't imagine how many fantasy RPGs some of us own. Like, what? That's crazy. I've got 2 right there I'm trying to get rid of. Zweihander and Dark Master. They're on the eBays. Will I play them? Sure. Do I have the PDFs? I don't have Zweihander PDF, but I have the Dark Master PDF. Am I going to run it? Probably not. Do I know much about it? Played it with Kevin Salthart at BSRCon. It was fun. Like what fantasy RPG is going to blow my mind? Blow your mind. Is AKs? AKs, help me out. I don't know. What is AK? SK. Is a SK? Stone Top? I don't know. Maybe Tim. I don't know. What is Stone Top though? What's kick? What are you talking about, man? Anyways, wrap it up. Let's go. I want to thank all of these folks for helping me out, giving me a few shekels each every month. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Nubis says, I don't have too many books. After I get the 35 projects I back, maybe then, but not now. No siree. Dave Conkle, dude, you literally show up as I'm closing the show. That is hilarious. I know, Dave. Good to see you, though, man. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, by the way, if you guys appreciate this video, give me a thumbs up. If you do, do me a favor. Again, I got to do that at the beginning of the show because everybody's probably gone at this point. Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, you too, man. Beers. We're going to have beers. Maybe next week. Yes, so thank you for everybody that has supported me. We're much appreciated. You, even if you haven't, been a patron, that's okay. I appreciate you being in the chat. Absolutely. It was a great conversation to kick off the stream today. So with this, Dave, I gotta go, man. I'm taking off. You're gonna make it next week, maybe. If you subscribe, Dave, and then you hit the little bell, you'll get notified if I go live. Nubis, you support me emotionally, and you do, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So anyways, thank you so much. Go play some games. Spend time with people you enjoy. Don't spend time with people you don't enjoy. If that includes work, well, you got to sacrifice sometimes. But remember, be a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby. Move, create, and learn. All right? We'll see you next weekend. Thanks, guys. And join the Discord if you want to hang out with everybody that's in the chat. Good people. See ya.